Hello everybody, welcome back to No Dust No Worries, a rogue Hearthstone laddering experiment. I'm actually going to start off with these videos. I consider the previous videos to be season 0 of the series, because I only played a couple of games. I think the stats, if we look at them now, yeah, they fell down to 11-4, and as you can see on the screen, we achieved the rank of 19. But I only played 15 games in the month of October 2015, so that doesn't really count much. I'm going to try and at least squeeze in 45 games at least this month, if not more, to just get a better idea of what the deck can sort of do. Okay, so before we move on, I am going to reset our win-loss. I think I like to do that for each month, because basically your progress does basically get reset each month. Once we go in here, we will claim our treasure, enemy treasure. Ooh, totemic, I like the totemic. Very good for disenchanting, emergency disenchants if I need, say, I forget how much dust it was, I think it's 40 dust for a common. If I need another card such as an eviscerate or whatever, but I think I will leave it there. So yeah, as we can see here, we're starting back up at rank 23. And I still haven't played any practice games, and I'm still not getting any daily quests, because this series is meant to be based on playing the game from scratch, without any of the expensive cards, as you can see. Alright, so we're just going to queue in now. Okay. And into Paladin. Why does this not surprise me? Well, hey, at least we got some swamp oozes. That'd be great. Okay, what do we want to do? I think we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So I consider this to be the true first season. I really think that the previous, what was it, 7 or 8 episodes was a pilot for this series, and I do intend for this series to be the flagship series of my channel. Just because of my love of Rogue. I love playing Rogue, and I love having constraints, challenging myself to see how well I can do. If, you know, without the really powerful, quote-unquote really powerful, epic, legendary and adventure cards. Okay, yeah, I will still coin out a swamp ooze. I think given this hand, I should have probably thought a little bit more about this hand. But I don't want to take too long, you know, on a below rank 20. It's not really worthwhile.
Reporting for
duty. That's okay. Yeah. Do I play Swamp Ooze number 2, or do I get the freebie with my dagger? I think I developed Swamp Ooze number 2. Just control the board. This might look a little bad, because often against weapon classes, the ooze can do a lot of work. But I like to think of it this way. If I develop the ooze, he needs to use a charge on it anyway. Let me just gather my thoughts. Do I want to play around Consecrate? Do I want to play around Consecrate? No, I don't. No, I don't.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Yeah, I know I don't. I think I'll just take that risk. So yeah, going back to the ooze issue. Should you save the ooze for a weapon, or should you just develop it if it's your only 2-drop? I really believe that you should just play a 2-drop if you have a 2-drop. And even if it doesn't get value, and you'll see me do this quite often once we get a couple of cards such as Auto Barber, so on and so forth, because, you know, killing half of a true silver is great, but saving an ooze and slowing down your turn 2, and even this in extreme case, saving 2 oozes and slowing it, and, you know, not saving 2 oozes, sorry, using both the oozes and basically sacrificing. Okay, well, that was pretty straightforward. Really not really worth a win. So let's grab that, and I will queue into our next game. Unlock Paladin. Great, if I ever want to play that. Okay, let's queue into our next game. So like I say, using both oozes like that puts on a lot of pressure. And there's no guarantee that he has a weapon in his hand. Playing reactively like that is a call that you've got to make. You got to make the call as to whether that card is likely to be part of their mulligan and whether they're likely to dig for it. And if not, I think usually you just if it's a decent card, just play it on curve. Okay, so we have a 0. Shattered Sight isn't great here, so I think I'll just keep the backstab. Yeah, so you'll often see me play auto barbers on no weapons or auto barbers on 1 weapon. You know, value is great. Value is really good, but especially when you're playing as rogue, tempo is even more important. And what's the difference between tempo and value? Give me a moment to think about that. What is the difference between tempo and value? Well, tempo.
I can't do that.
Tempo has a lot more to do with setting up a board from which your minions can attack and their minions can't. So basically, tempo is establishing a board where your minions get first move. Value is... What are you doing? Why are you trolling me? What? Okay, well, you know, you're rank 22. I'm not gonna ask any questions. Got a weapon up. I'm not gonna swing because I have coin 4. So coin 4, 4, 5. So I won't be able to swing my weapon for a while. I mean, I won't be able to re-weapon up for a while. So I'm gonna hold the dagger for now, especially if he has something like muster. Or if he just makes a do, you know, I can generate a lot of tempo. Exactly. So we're going back to the issue of tempo. The rogue weapon generates a lot of tempo.
Here we go.
But the value is questionable because every time you want to deal 1 damage to something, you have to tank face with it. And it's quite similar with Druid as well. But Druid has the offset of the 1 armor gain. So it makes Druid a little bit more defensive but less tempo because rogues get 2... Effectively, they get 2... I've said this before. Playing the Dagger Mastery gives you 2 1/1 stealth minions that use your health as a resource. That was too complicated. I should have just kept quiet. Sorry about that. Let's try a card without mana pool. Okay, it's fine. I'm still going to keep the weapon because I'm going to be storm packing next turn. I'm most likely going to be storm packing next turn. Yeah, I'll have to think a little bit more about tempo versus value. But in the early game, having thoroughly confused you, tempo in the early game is really important. Just because, you know, solely because the minions that get to act first, they get to do the trades that they want. So tempo can be translated into value. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Well, I'm definitely gonna use my face to kill the... And I'm probably going to run into... If I use heal, I can draw a card. So let's draw a card. I'll probably heal the Yeti after trading it into the Farseer. So actually this is a really good example of tempo versus value. So if you draw a Voodoo Doctor on turn 1, or you have a Voodoo Doctor in your hand on turn 1, should you save it to restore 2 health to yourself or to a minion, or should you just play it on turn 1 as a 2/1? And the tempo play is to play the turn 1 2/1, because then you get to attack with it next turn. But the value play is to save it until you know that you're going to need the healing, or you know that the healing is going to be beneficial to you. And that's really a call you got to make, it, you know, depending on the type of deck you're facing up against and so on and so forth. Okay, if I kill this, it'll go down to a 3/4. Where do I get 3 damage? I can shoot. I would really like to develop my Frostwolf. I think I will. I will Frostwolf first, just to get a huge Frostwolf. Drop a backstab. And then trade... Oh god, that was stupid of me. I'll still trade this in. I think you can draw a card off it, I don't really care. Yeah, I should have used... it wouldn't have worked out that way anyway. It wouldn't have worked out... I couldn't have run my Murloc into the night, my Raider into the night, because the night was still being buffed by the War Leader. Yeah, so the Voodoo Doctor is a good example of a tempo versus a card that has 2 uses. You can either play it as tempo or play it as value. And oftentimes in Hearthstone, you're going to have to consider which is better in what situation and what you want to go with. Okay, it's Divine Shielded. I think I weapon up and use a Storm Pipe. Oh, yeah. I think I weapon up and use a Storm Pipe.
Here we go.
To clear. And we are in a very dominant position. Yeah. So, again, you know, I don't want to sound reductive, but any suggestions you have about this laddering experience? Any ideas you might have for my deck? Any card suggestions? I would love to hear them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how far this deck can go. Me personally, I think I would put it. A cautious like. I'm cautiously optimistic of at least rank 15, if not rank 11 or 12 before the end of the month. I'm quite confident that we can get there. I'm quite confident that we can get to rank 15 is very doable. 11, 12, I think with a couple of extra games with some extra work is also very doable. But it really depends on what happens. Okay, so we have a 2 and a 3. I don't like keeping a 3 in the opening hand when you're going first, because the turn 1 mulligan, the player going the turn 1 mulligan makes a. Let me just gather my thoughts. You have two options. You have two scenarios that happen when you mulligan. Either you player 1. The player who goes first, and you get 3 cards, or you're player 2 and you get 4 cards. I've done some maths, and I'll show you the maths. I've got all these spreadsheets sitting around somewhere. That basically the mulligan. I'll just develop this. The initial mulligan, just that 1 card less in your mulligan means you are so much less likely to find certain cards in your deck. So say you're going second, say you're player 2 and you're going second, keeping a 3-drop isn't actually that bad, because for 1, if you keep a 3 and you mulligan 3 other cards, you have 3 chances at finding something that's a 1 or a 2 or another 3-drop. And plus you have the coin to play the 3-drop out a turn early. So there's a lot of intricate maths involved if you're so inclined to think about Hearthstone in that way. I think we will just clear this Murloc, because it might feel like a waste of damage. You know, I only needed 1 damage to clear the Murloc, and I spent 3. But it protects, that play protects both of these minions, because this 1/1 cannot kill either of it unassisted. And that's one of the really key things you want to do as Rogue. You want to play, again, going back to tempo, you want to put the board in a situation such that it's awkward for your opponent. And this is a pretty clear turn here. I will wrapped up. And again, I will protect my board by killing this guy. And then protecting it. So this trade seems really silly, because the damage is like, I'm wasting 2 damage. But by doing this trade protects both the Raider and the Shattered Sun Cleric until the next turn. So he has to use some sort of removal from his hand or some sort of charge card. And that's really a key part of playing Hearthstone and getting the most out of the minions and cards in your deck. Oh, this is quite excellent. Question is, do I swing? Question is, do I swing? I might as well. I think with the thing with Assassin's Blade, I have to admit my level of experience playing Assassin's Blade is quite low. I don't like to have it in my rogue decks. I feel it's too slow. You really have to have maybe 2 flurries, and you have to have deadly poisons in there. An Assassin's Blade rogue deck is very different from a not Assassin's Blade rogue deck, and you know that sounds a little silly, you know, putting it like that, but this card basically, a lot of your end game damage will come from this card. But the issue with this card is it takes 4 turns to use it all. 3 if you 3 turns if you have a flurry. So you can swing 3 times and then do a blade flurry for the final charge. Okay, I think. Yes, I will. I could fan Yeti, but I have my dagger, and I'm gonna waste my dagger. I want to waste 2 damage on that little 1/1 creature, just to ensure, just to increase the likelihood that my big guy is gonna survive, because he's gonna do way more damage than me next turn. But if he gets killed by something, or if see, the Hunter's Mark would have made him vulnerable to the ball, but now that he doesn't have a ball, he has to use something else instead, or something on top of the Hunter's Mark. Okay, that's an interesting play, which makes it a difficult play for him to. Difficult play. Okay, so I think I'm gonna fan here. I'm most likely gonna run into the boar. I mean, sorry, the brew. Yes, run into the brew, and I think I'll weapon up. I'm gonna save the Voodoo Doctor until I really need the healing, or until the healing is really relevant. The thing I like about cards like Shattered Sun and the Voodoo is they can be involved in tempo plays. They can be used to generate. So they're fast because they do something. Most Battlecry minions are fast. Battlecry and Charge minions are fast. Wow, that was a bad trade. He spent a 6 mana 5/2 to kill a 1 health thing. Anyway, let's just play these guys out. Okay, card advantage and card draw. I think I'll just develop it. So the thing I really like about Voodoo Doctor and Shattered Sun, any card that has Battle Cry and any card that restores health or buffs health, gives you a lot of potential to do tempo-based plays where the opponent might set up some minions that challenge your minions, but the Voodoo Doctor will just kick them out of range, or the Shattered Sun will kick your minions out of the range of what they're presenting on the board, what they're showing. Okay, is this a explosive? Assuming it's an explosive only triggers when you run into the Hunter's face. So if you think it's an explosive, and it usually is either an explosive or a freezing, you want to do your trades first. So you don't want to go to the Hunter's face until you get as much value from your board as possible, because your board's going to die to explosive. So, you know, just do your thing. It's obviously not freezing, because freezing triggers when you run into a minion or the Hunter. So I think I'll risk. Yeah, I'll risk it.
Here we go.
Well, what else could it be? No, it's explosive. It has to be. I'll run into face. I'm probably gonna. What the heck? Oh, it's a bear. All right. So I was totally off there. But fan here makes it a really clean clear, and we can play our possible. Make it really big, and we'll be in a very strong position again. And yeah, I think the start to this run has been really powerful. I mean, okay, fortunate, I guess. Fortunate is the word I want to use. We seem to have been facing up against a lot of players who are new to the game, that don't necessarily have a lot of cards, like powerful cards. And I think that's usually the case when it's the start of the season. Is that true? Am I just making things up? I'm not sure. I'm just making things up. Okay, well played.
Well played.
Okay, so we have recorded our 3rd win for the session. There we go, Hunter unlocked. Excellent. Okay, so I think I'll leave it up here with the 3 games in this video, but I will be back shortly with some more of this series. And okay, so I'd just like to thank you guys for tuning in. I'd like to thank you in advance. If you liked what you've seen and heard today, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a comment, a like, or a subscribe. It means so much to me, and it, you know, this is why I do this for the love. I don't do it for anything else, and it means so much to me. So anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. No Dust signing off.